Alrighty, here we go. Welcome back, friends.
Sweet. It's been a while for you.
It's been a while.
Okay,
Today we have our friend Robi here with us.
How's it going, fellas?
We're doing great. UltraWisdom followers. I'm back. You know who that was? Robi?
No clue.
Come on.
It's like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Cam Newton when they brought him back to Carolina and he got benched after one drive for sucking ass.
Oh, that
and
is
he
true.
Scored the touchdown. He was like, I'm back.
Yep.
I'm getting benched after this episode. Psych. I'm never going anywhere again. Daddy's home. Sorry, I got to deal with those degenerates the past 2 weeks. But I'm back from vacation from the frozen tundra.
Yeah, dude, talk about that some. I don't even think we've talked about it at all.
We have. It's the first episode since I've been back. It's good to see you. Good to be home.
Go on your story. Talk about the Wisconsin snow.
Yeah, so we took the family home to Wisconsin. Excuse me. Oh, that was a nice thick boy. For the girls to meet my fiance's side of the family because they haven't met him yet. And because it's so far away, it's not just like, oh, we'll come see you this weekend type deal. And, you know, time kept going on. And I was like, man, we got to get them there before we turn around. They're fucking old. 9 years old.
And they're 4.5 feet tall.
Tell us about how you got there. I know you told us before at the race.
Yeah, no, we were going to fly, but it was looking like $450 a person. Once kids turn past the age of 2, they are considered
like an adult
ticket. Prior to 2, you can get like $50 tickets or some shit like that, and you have to like sit in your lap or go under the plane. But because they already had their birthday and we got past 2, it was going to be damn full seat for a 25-pound person. So I was like, fuck that. I'm not paying $1,600.
Full people weigh 25 pounds now.
I'm not paying $1,600 to literally get stuck in Philadelphia overnight. So we'll just pack the car up and we'll drive.
When you crate the kids under the plane in the cargo hold, you have to give them medication?
Yeah, you got to go to the pediatrician, but prior to the trip, when you crate them and put them under the plane, and you got to give them a little baby Xanax.
A little baby Xan.
It calms them down and keeps them chill
down. You heard of little Xan?
Travel hacks by Kev.
Yeah, you know,
the more you know.
The pressure under there is not too good. It's not like the cabin.
Yeah.
And that baby Xan just helps them just mellow out and chill down there. They can, check out all the cargo. There's animals down there and shit. So, they're fine.
It's like a petting zoo with the kids, right? Like
pretty much. Dude, hang out with their mother for 9 months. They can survive a 3.5-hour flight to Chicago. So,
there's got to be someone that checks on them down there and feeds them kibble.
Oh hell yeah!
You know
They keep a couple boys down there.
Also, you should check out Baby Zan's SoundCloud account.
Baby Zan's probably got like 36 followers, just like us. So we decided to drive. We drove through the night. It wasn't too bad of a ride. Got there smoothly, other than like a little bit of snow in Ohio. It was extremely cold.
You drove all night, right?
I drove all the way through the night, 16 hours.
That's incredible.
That's like that Bob Seger song.
I've
been driving 16 hours. There's nothing left to do. You know that song?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but it's like that lady
Smoked the last cigarette.
It's like that lady from NASA that put the diapers on and drove the van down to Florida and pooped her pants the whole time.
I didn't even know about this.
That was a long time ago. That was like 10 years ago.
To save time on rest stops.
She was going to kill her husband or something.
That's
he was cheating on her. And she just put diapers on and just got a rental and just never stopped.
Never stopped. I'm not using the diaper poop method for long distance in my vehicle.
I did not use the diaper method. I actually stopped. But no, it was a fun time. The girls got to play in the snow. Got to drink some good Wisconsin beer, eat some cheese curds, hit some places up that you really can't find here. You know what I mean? And
see the UFOs out there on the lake?
No UFOs. Really not a lot of nightly activities. The girls in a different location, in a different place, sleeping in some makeshift shit. It didn't really work out too well through the night. We didn't get to go out as much as we thought we were going to, but for the most part, it was just fun, getting everyone together. Getting the fam together, the cousins together. I got to do a fucking cold plunge in a pond.
Yeah.
20-degree weather. I can definitely see how that shit humbles you and makes you feel like more alive, and why people like can get addicted to it. Like the initial impact of that, you're like, holy, like you feel like you're kind of dying.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have to literally either panic or calm yourself down. And I feel like doing that routinely can like help you train yourself to keep yourself calm. Because it's a fucking shock.
Like an ice bath or something?
I haven't done one. I really want to.
I've never done one either.
I mean, I have the video of it, and I don't know if I showed it to you at the race, but I'll show it to you. Like,
send it to me. Maybe I'll put it right here.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it to you.
2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Brandon, go! Why is it green?
But man, you literally come up and you're just like, you have to calm yourself down. You know, it's like that fight or flight shit, man. You're either gonna fucking panic and be like, help, help, or you're gonna fucking calm yourself down. And you just gotta breathe. That really is the key. You just gotta you gotta tell yourself it'll be fine. Just breathe. It's just temporary. And then really out of nowhere, it's just like gone. You're like
a metaphor for life.
Pretty much. That's what I'm saying.
So
I think
breathe,
that's why
it's
people
only
get
temporary.
addicted to it, because it can help you, like, doing that method can probably help you in, like, a stressed environment or, like, a high-pressure situation, be able to control your emotions and keep yourself calm to get through it. You know what I mean? I think that's why athletes do it, because it's such a high-pressure...
What's that tall dude that does inspirational or coaching? Tony Robbins or whatever. Yeah, that dude was talking about it. He wakes up at like 5:30 in the morning, doesn't think, just runs into, I think he has a lake. I mean, dude's loaded, right? Just jumps into a frozen lake in the morning. Tells his brain, shut up, I'm going.
That's pretty much what this was.
It
was just basketball shorts and 2 feet of snow on the ground. We walked through it.
I was like, even brutal. I've walked in snow barefoot. That's pretty brutal.
I was like, yo, someone's got to get your boy some swim shoes. I'm not going barefoot through the snow.
So you had the shoes on.
I put the swim shoes on.
Because the barefoot through the snow is brutal.
I was like, yo, I can do the cold plunge. I was like, I can't walk through the snow. But then we came out of the pond, and we were picking up snow, and they was like rubbing it on us, and it was like
nothing. Putting
like just cotton on it. Like, it just felt like we were doing like fucking front flips into the snow and shit. It was nothing. Again, it's just like that mental barrier. Once you get past, you just can coast right through it. So
like Alex Murdaugh. They get past that mental barrier. And
I was not in that Snapchat
right
video,
through.
and I would never kill my family. Never.
That's what they say.
But no, it was a good trip all in all. You know, it was fun.
Did the milk taste different?
Heavier? Thicker?
I'm a grown man. I don't really drink milk. Do you drink milk?
I love milk.
No shit.
Full, no, none of that 2% watered down shit. Whole, full milk, full fat, full everything.
Oh, dude. No, I didn't drink any milk there. I just drink beer. It's really cheap there.
Cow beer.
Oh, maybe that's why that beer was giving me upset stomach. It's milky.
Milk beer.
Yeah, milk beers. No, the beer there is extremely cheap. Like, everything's pretty much brewed there in Milwaukee. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like a 6-pack of PBR is like $3.99.
Jesus.
Like a fucking, even like Miller Lite, Bud Light, Coors Light, all that shit is even like just like, you know, 12-pack of Coors Light at the grocery store is like $13.99 here. There it's like $8.99. It's all cheap as fuck. And, you know, so I was enjoying that, the prices of the beer. But we got back, got some fishing done at the house, you know, got a couple things to do at the house, and work's been crazy, but I was like, man, I gotta get over here and get back on the old fucking pod.
Get on the mic.
So the fucking trip was tight.
Get on the mic and be kind of
It was fun. I wish it was a little bit closer. That way we could go more. Like that 16-hour range is just like a little too far.
Almost, yeah. It's pushing the barrier.
Like the last 3 hours,
14.
you're like, fuck, man, I cannot like do this.
You know,
12 to 14 is like a solid.
One thing that I think I can take away from the NASCAR race the other day, time to get a camper van.
Yeah.
So that way, 16 hours, 2-day trip.
Dude, talk about that.
Yeah, that shit would be sweet.
Oh, no, I think that would be fucking awesome. I mean, that's one thing I've definitely always thought would be cool to have.
Be able to pull up somewhere.
Like an RV or a camp or something like that, and just be able to drive, and when you're ready to stop, instead of checking in a hotel somewhere or having to find an Airbnb, just to be able to, like, park that bitch, just go in the back. You know what I mean? So I'd like to rent one time, one summer, like maybe for a couple, try it out before, you know what I mean? A couple times actually. Maybe like take it to a state park or something like that, you know, a couple states over, but.
That's what we call our friend's backyard.
State parks.
State parks.
Like, yeah, I've been just visiting state parks.
That was my phone.
Oh my God, I thought it was a burglar.
Damn.
Thought it was a damn burglar.
But
dude, talk about the race.
That was my first NASCAR race. I had a fucking blast.
So yeah,
Richmond.
Thank you for coming on to the show. I didn't get to tell you that. I know we've scheduled multiple times to do it.
Thank you for having me. But I'm sorry I had to cancel the first time because I fell.
Due to injuries and work issues and multiple reschedules, finally we've been able to have you on. Last week we got to hang out a little bit, all three of us and some other friends, and go to the Richmond International Raceway and watch the Toyota Owners 400. And that was your first race.
That was my first race. And
Alrighty.
that was epic.
Describe it.
I am not missing another one. I didn't know what to expect, right? I've never tailgated before. I went to Northeastern Boston, so we didn't have like tailgates or anything like that. Everything was pretty much city sports, if you may. So you go to a bar or pub or some shit.
Yeah.
So getting out there in the morning, setting up, you know, barbecuing, all that stuff, incredible. Getting that sun, especially, was hot as shit that day. Like, I think it was the first like sun of this year. And then just the whole experience, man, just being in there, like from the beginning when they flew that, I think, Coast Guard plane, I think it was, and then they had the...
Oh, man, we talked about it. I was disappointed, man. Cargo plane, I was like, come on, man, it used to be jets. It used to be some damn F-18, F-15, F-whatever, Hornets.
Send them all to Ukraine. It's got cargo planes now fly over.
God, dude, come on, man.
Man, they got the C-130 going over. Dude, bring the F-22s from Langley up to Richmond and let them fly over.
Hey, y'all, at that track was the first time I ever seen some F-18s fly over and the first set of boobies in real life. At that track.
Which ones flew higher?
You can only imagine.
Which one were you more excited
like, Daddy,
for?
look over there. Because I was like a kid. My dad took me there when I was a kid. Literally.
Damn, jet fuel made them things just...
Dude, high power.
Yeah, you've been going to the race for a long time.
Yeah, I've been going since I was a kid, dude.
Yeah, I know the first race I went to was with you. You guys they got me going to the race for the first time a couple years ago. You know, I never had any interest in NASCAR. I mean, growing up...
You don't really have interest in NASCAR. You know what I'm saying? You don't really have interest in it.
No, that's not true. I mean, I remember the early 2000s, like, being at my, like, uncle's house and them watching, like, fucking Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon and,
back
you know...
in the day, right.
The boys, Ricky Rudd and fucking all those dudes, Tony Stewart.
Mark Martin.
Like, NASCAR was huge. And, I mean, I don't know why, like, we never went to the race with, like, all the uncles and cousins and everything, especially being right fucking here. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until we really became... I mean, we were already friends, but we got older and we could just go on our own, you know what I mean, and drink and stuff like that. And they were like, hell yeah, the race is fun as fuck. And his uncle could, like, get tickets through his, like, job and shit. And he was like, bro, you gotta come to this shit. It's tight as fuck.
Discounted tickets.
15 out of 10, man. Experience. Yeah. Like, I wasn't too fucked up. It was a good time.
I was telling him the key is, though, we gotta get there earlier next time. Like, we gotta be in that yard set up at 10. That way you can fucking cook
it out.
And grind for 4 or 5 hours before you walk over, because I felt like the second we had the setup, it was like, yo, we gotta go. We got to go. So the key is to get there early. You can go park in them yards 8, 9 in the morning.
And some people camp out
overnight. They park the night before there, and they wake up and
because there's multiple races.
Dude, imagine waking up Robbie. Imagine waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning and
doing
being like,
just being there.
That sounds like a
grill
fun ass time.
Because next time we go, we'll have to go to the trucks. Like, you know, we just kind of went over there for a second, and I picked something up. And, dude, you can go and do all the stuff.
That's what I was telling them.
You can, like, drive, like, cars. Like, you can.
They got, like, simulators. You can sit in a car and take a picture. They have, like, all types of... They'll have, like, the girls for the race teams out there and shit that you can take pictures with. You know, you can get autographs from, like, some fucking... of like, the owners and drive... Not the owners, but... team members.
Very cool.
I said next time we got to get to the yard earlier, and we got to get to the track earlier so we can walk around and like look at the shit at the track, because they do have like around that merch area, souvenir area, team area. Oh, tight. And they hand out, dude.
Sounds like a party, dude.
Yeah, I remember
it
going
is a
there.
party.
I remember going there and spinning a wheel and getting a can of Skull Apple.
Huh.
You ever had Skull Apple?
No, what is that?
You ever dip or do like any
Put tobacco-
like
Yeah,
tobacco products?
Yeah.
Yeah, Skull
Skull's
Apple.
a brand.
Oh, Skull.
Skull.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you meant skull,
I
like a
thought he
human
was
skull.
talking about him
no.
being a skull teacher.
No, Skull. No, Skull
Yeah,
tobacco.
I work at a skull.
Skull. Like
So
Skull
they-
Bandits.
They
You know what
gave
I'm
you
saying?
free dip.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
Fuck yeah.
Tylenol.
And Tylenol?
Multiple things of free Tylenol, like
They're
whole
like-
bottles. And I just got ibuprofen for $20 a bottle, so they're handing out probably thousands of dollars worth of medication.
Yeah, because they need everyone to be able to get home safely because they know the boys are going to be getting after it.
What do you? I brought up Skull Bandits, and you got one.
Yeah. I was like,
Damn,
I need to get a little
dude.
Nick, boy.
Damn, dude.
These are my things right now,
Hit back
man.
on 'em.
Yeah, hit back on them. Put this in. Room starts spinning a little bit. We'll be good.
He's back on it, dude. I used to do that when I was a kid, man, for real.
But this isn't tobacco.
I know.
It's just like powder.
Just powdered
Nicotine
nicotine.
powder.
lemon powder that
A
makes
pouch
you go
of
like...
nicotine. Yeah, I feel like just be a man and do the tobacco.
but
But
it gets all in
there's
your
probably-
teeth.
and there's probably
It fucking-
negative stuff
You
from
can't.
it. It cuts
you
shit
can't
up.
swallow that shit.
Yeah.
Like this,
Your
I don't
gums.
have to spit doing this.
You ever like chewing tobacco? You get a wad. And
Yeah,
like,
I've done that. One of my close friends went to Ole Miss. So,
Oh,
dude used to
shit.
go like mudding. He had, the alligator skin boots and all that shit. So,
Alligator skin.
Like, I don't know. Snake skin, alligator snake skin. He had like a couple of pairs of like those,
I got
boots.
I got a combo set of a luggage dinosaur skin, 1.5 mil,
Hell yeah.
right here in the closet. Dinosaur.
You're not.
I won't watch
You're
it.
not
They grow
checking.
in the
You're
lab.
not checking those fucking bags.
No, I carry those. Keep
Yeah,
those
I'm
on.
carrying
Keep
these
that thing
on to my
me.
private plane, bitch.
Yeah, heard what I'm saying?
Dude, ain't
Keep
no
'em
joke.
locked out.
Dinosaur skin. You know Dave Chappelle, he rocks with the eggs.
Dinosaur eggs, baby. When I shit, make my dookie look like
Dookie
diamonds.
twinkle. You know that
So-
Dave Chappelle skit?
No.
Where
I
he
haven't
eats
seen it.
dinosaur eggs and puts diamonds in it so that when he poops, it twinkles.
No, I haven't watched it. I gotta
Classic,
watch
dude.
it.
It's a yeah. It's
Classic.
a, we used to run through that shit, but
I love
So you
Chappelle.
said that was your first tailgate.
Yeah, that was my
It's
first
not
tailgate.
a big northeastern thing.
Yeah, it's not big in the Northeast. Like,
So-
there's not a lot of schools that do the whole tailgating and all that stuff. At least not the school that I went
Right.
to.
Probably because it's cold weather.
Cold weather,
warm.
It's
yeah.
a more southern thing.
So were you born in the Northeast?
No, so I was born in Nepal.
Okay.
I grew up in France, and then I moved to New Delhi, India. Then I was in D.C. Then I went to Nepal for 3 years, finished high school. Then I moved to Boston. I was in Boston till 2018, 2019.
So hold on real quick. So are you? What's your ethnic like?
Nepali.
Nepalian?
Yeah.
I was gonna
Nepali.
say, dude, yeah, you Neapolitan, you damn strawberry vanilla and chocolate,
It's an
brother?
ice cream.
So you're
It's
Nepalian.
Nepali.
Nepali, yeah.
Is your mother and father Nepalian?
Yeah, they're both Nepalese, Nepali. You can go
yeah.
either or, yeah.
Excuse me if I mispronounce.
good.
I don't know,
You're
but
good.
you're probably the first person I've ever met from Nepal.
I usually am. I
And-
pop everyone's
and
cherry.
that's
like Tibet, right?
That's south of Tibet. Yeah, Tibet's a little bit north. So you go up, there's
mountains.
and shit,
Yeah.
and then you go to Lhasa Casa, which is like their Lhasa is their capital
Lhasa is the capital of Nepal.
of Tibet.
Oh, Tibet.
Kathmandu
I'll
is
go with you when
Nepal.
you go.
Hell yeah.
I
Well,
will,
we'll plan a trip out there.
100%.
So your parents are originally from Nepal.
Yeah.
Born and raised there,
Kind
or
of.
just generally
Born-
from there, like their whole life.
The ethnicity is there. Like our ethnic background is from Nepal. My dad hasn't been in Nepal for like 35 years now.
Okay.
So he was there until he was like probably 19, 20. Then moved to Thailand, got his bachelor's. Then moved out here to. He went to school in Canada, got his first PhD. Then he got 3 more PhDs or doctorates after that. He works for the United Nations.
Sick.
So
Oh God.
he
Triple PhD.
Yeah, so like he's been traveling around, so that's why I moved around and lived
Dude,
all
it's in
over
his
the place.
blood, dude. Robbie graduated high school when he was like 15.
Yep.
Oh shit. So
He was like 12 years old in
So
9th grade,
when-
bro.
So when did you leave Nepal? Or wait,
2011.
You were giving me the breakdown really quick, and I was getting a little lost there.
I was born in Nepal. I was a baby, like a child.
a baby.
Like maybe
Where'd you go to grade school?
grade school, France.
France.
Yeah,
Okay.
Paris.
Middle school.
So you-
Middle school,
So you
India.
speak French.
So you speak French
Yes.
fluently.
Well, I used to be fluent.
Used to.
Now I don't have anyone to speak with, so it's getting a little rusty. But I understand it fully.
Okay.
And I can speak it too.
So middle
We'll go out
school was
there
in
for 2 weeks.
France.
Yeah, so Up till 5th grade, all France in a French school. French was my first official, written whatever language. I spoke Nepali and English just from being at home and watching cartoons and shit. And then 6th grade, I was in New Delhi. So I went to the American Embassy School there, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. 9th grade, I was in D.C., went to a Catholic private school here. And then 10th, 11th, 12th grade, I was in Nepal, went to the American school there. Graduated when I was 15, then moved to Boston. So 2011 is when I came to Boston.
What do you think the difference between how would you rate going to school in I wouldn't say foreign country because after you're from there it's not foreign, but how is the difference between going to school in America and then going to school in a foreign country?
You went multiple places.
You did school here and school there. So would you say one is stricter or harder than the other, or one's more laid back or easier?
I can say this with 99.9% confidence based off the schooling that I've seen in the U.S. We don't teach people shit here, man.
Yeah.
Education's backlogged. Why do you have to be 5 to fucking start learning?
Okay.
You can run around. You can do dumb shit. Learn.
Did you go to school when you were 5?
No, I started, so my basic schooling started when I was 2 years old. Learning the alphabet and doing all that. By 3, I was already enrolled.
What was your thesis statement?
I didn't have one.
That's a 3-year-old thesis.
Do I drink juice or do I take a nap?
Apple juice.
So organic fruit is killing most countries.
No, but schooling wise, that's why I skipped so many grades, because by the time I was in 5th grade going into the American school in New Delhi,
the standard was lower than
the standard's much lower, and then when you come in from a different language, they basically sit you down for an aptitude test. So you got to do English, math, science, right? So you got to go through all 3. Based on your score, they place you in a grade. So I pretty much skipped a bunch of grades because I would always test out.
Already?
Give him a doctorate.
I guess a scalpel will do. Dude, son of the John Hopkins, dude.
According to this, he already knows neurosurgery.
He placed in the 5th ward of the ER department in the hospital.
Yeah, he's smarter than half the doctors in the city.
It's dude, this kid's not eating corn dogs for lunch. He's going to fucking do brain surgery, brother.
Yeah, dude, send him. He's got brain surgery at 2 p.m., 6 period.
We got a gunshot wound in room 2. He need Robbie now. Dr. Robbie?
If I stuck it out.
He's like the Doogie Howser kid or whatever, with the
lab coat's way too long.
Dude.
He's tripping over the fucking shit.
He's scalpel.
If I had stuck it out, if I kept on being in academia, I would have been done with my PhD by 23, 24.
Do you have your PhD?
No. I got out of the school system the minute I realized it was just
money,
debt.
Oh,
they don't teach you shit, dude. They're not teaching you anything. Every job that I've had. So I went to when I went to Northeastern too, it was basically the reason why I picked that school is because they have co-ops, which is a whole year, or you can do 18 months of full real life work. So for 6 months stretch at a time, now they've changed it. It's only 3 or 2 or whatever it is now. But for entire 6 months, you're working at a professional, corporate environment.
Yeah.
So I went into law as my first one. Biggest thing about lawyers, they're just trying to bill you longer. That's all it is.
They want you there.
Yeah, the more they bill you, the more money they make for themselves, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. And then I went into banking. I worked at the oldest private bank in the nation.
Longfellow Deeds?
No, Brown Brothers Harriman. They literally financed the Cross-Continental Railroad. So the road, the railway that goes from the East Coast to the West Coast, they were the ones that financed that. Cross-Atlantic travel, steam travel. They were the ones that invested in that shit. So these guys have been around for a long time.
They've been investing in Chinese labor.
They're deeply rooted.
Yeah, they have ties. They have connections.
Chinese ties.
Yeah. When you look it up, if you look up Brown Brothers on Google and start doing some conspiracy theory search.
Hold on now. If you look up Brown Brothers on Google, you might get a fucking different image search.
You might not want to look
be careful looking up Brown Brothers.
Brown Brothers
Your
Harriman.
safe search is off. You might see a lot more inches in this room, dude. But no, Brown Brothers banking,
Brown
right?
Brothers Harriman, yeah. So if you
Harriman,
look it
okay.
up, there's like multiple conspiracy theories that basically people are saying, you know, the whole world is run by Brown Brothers from 50 Post Office, because when World War II ended and Truman, or whatever the president at the time was, he was flying to sign the Treaty of Versailles in France, the cashier's check that he had was a Brown Brothers Harriman check.
Well, someone's got to fucking fund it, right?
So it's not JP Morgan Chase. It's none of these guys. It's basically those guys. They've been at it since like 18 something. And Prescott, Bush, and all, like, you know, the elites have worked there before. So they're very well rooted.
Okay.
So
Well, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, getting to work for such a fucking, you know, old fucking place, a place that's, it sounds almost like is one of the pioneers, the original
banking, yeah,
pioneers of
banking.
banking, if not the country.
Yeah.
And that's pretty interesting.
Speaking of pioneers, you know IBM?
Yeah.
You know where they got their kind of like big kickoff of?
Oh yeah, I did.
Weren't they Nazi stuff?
Yeah, World
Yeah.
War II.
A lot of companies were.
They were doing
Weren't
like logistics
Adidas
for the Nazi
or-
regime.
Yeah, they developed a way to classify Jewish prisoners.
Yeah.
Or
Had to do
Like a
with,
record-keeping
yeah,
system.
record keeping
Yeah.
logistics, yeah.
Might want to cut that one. But so you worked at Brown Brothers.
I worked at Brown Brothers.
I keep thinking of Brooks Brothers, dude. He keeps fucking me up.
Yeah, they got some.
He's like, yeah, you're looking like a 42
measure
presidential cut, brother.
You got a thick neck, boy.
Yeah, they got some good shit there. It's expensive as fuck though.
Yeah.
Mad expensive, but they have some good shit.
I went there and talked about, I went there recently and got,
Brooks Brothers?
not Brooks Brothers, man. I don't
Men's
know.
Warehouse.
I'm talking about Men's Warehouse. Oh, shit.
You're going to
completely
like the
different
way you
place.
look.
Men's Warehouse is like for the poor people that think they're wearing Brooks Brothers clothes.
Oh, shit.
I like Men's Warehouse.
Damn, shit on the man's style.
What, Men's Warehouse?
He got a PhD when he's 12 and you're telling him he's going to be
I've been-
fucking poor?
I've been trying to like save up money for like the buy one suit, get like 16 free.
That's Josephine Bank, bro. You gotta go to Josephine
see,
Bank.
it's
You gotta
one
go
of
to
them.
Josephine
See, like
Bank.
it's one of them.
Dude, I got.
finance $16 a month for 48 months.
Dude, yeah, give us all your credit card information. We'll give you 16 suits. You just pay for the rest of your life.
Dude,
shit.
Josephine Bank used to do that shit before.
Yeah.
It's like, you want one shirt, get 4 free.
Yeah.
Well, when I was
Why
in,
not?
When I was in
Why
Japan, there was like tailors there on the streets that you could go to with like a celebrity who's rocking a suit, Jay-Z, Will Smith, Brad Pitt, someone, and be like, hey, I want this. They'll measure you and they will fucking make that shit like identical for like $100.
Yep.
And so many guys there would go get like 5,
Fresh?
6, 7 suits. Oh yeah, like tailor made. They're like, hey, Will Smith was wearing this at the 2005 Oscars.
When he
I
got
want
slapped?
this suit. And they'll make it. And all these dudes, no. And all these dudes would like go get 5, 6, 7 suits. Because for like $600, $700, you know, like it's whatever, 60,
Right.
70,000 yen. Like for that price, and then you just pay the shipping to send them home. I mean, less than $1,000 getting that many suits.
It's
is
unbeatable.
And dude, side by side, you would never
would
know.
never
You'd
know.
have to look at the label on the inside to tell.
Right.
Like you never know. That's just how like skillful they were. You know what I mean? But I didn't, you know, take advantage of that and fucked up. So that's one thing I missed out on. But
So when mom and dad went to China, they said that you could go on the street and buy your snake. You can get snake.
dude, I'm
Right
I'm
next
telling
to
you,
those suits that you get tailor made, you get some nice jarred snake.
everything. They had habu snakes in what's the rice liquor? Sake?
Sake.
Sake, yeah.
They had habu snakes in there, like that's like their poisonous snake there, and
Yum.
and all the
Snake-
stores just
snake
fucking
sake.
big like
Yeah.
mason jar looking thing
Yeah.
with the white label with the Japanese calligraphy on it, and just a fucking.
My
snake
favorite
in
is
there.
like the bigger the animal in the jar, the better. The
I
more
guess
aesthetically
I was
pleasing.
never man enough to
There's like
fucking
a
take
baby
sip of it.
buffalo in one of the jars.
Jesus
I'm like,
Christ!
One with an elephant real quick.
you know what I'm saying?
Dig up a mammoth.
They have it, and they're like, it's
Dig
good
up
for
a
your
mammoth,
libido.
yeah.
Make your pee pee big.
You're like, dude, this is a little baby mammoth from the damn ice age. They got it in some fucking
Yeah, dude. Speaking
Boone
of,
farm.
you see, they made the woolly mammoth meatballs.
Meatballs, dude.
They grown that lab meat.
Why?
Woolly mammoth.
Why?
It probably tastes way gamey, right?
They're probably
Gamey.
yeah.
They'll
I
probably
know,
give
I
you
imagine.
cancer. One meatball die, dude. That's what I'm thinking.
One meatball. It's lab grown woolly mammoth meat.
I better
Can
have
you
extra
imagine?
sauce on that bitch if I'm going out off one
Yeah,
meatball.
barbecue sauce on that bitch heavy.
I'm gonna
Smoke
You gotta
the hell
get
out of
something
it.
more than sauce, dude. Shit. I better
Think
be
about
getting
how
72
weird it
virgins
tastes.
when I eat that motherfucker, dude. If not, I ain't eating it.
They're only
that's
virgins the first time.
That's the test.
After you blow through them in a week, they're not virgins anymore. You're like, fuck, I have no more virgins
That's
left.
that's the test when you get up there. Joe Rogan makes you eat the woolly mammoth meatball. But then you're like, you thought that was the final one, but then it's like woolly mammoth testes.
Dude, Joe Rogan's head is a woolly mammoth meatball. You gotta take a bite out of that bitch
It's
before
like,
you get into the gates, dude.
Dude, sign up for heaven, sign up for Fear Factor.
You bite the fucking top of his head off and you see his third eye and you're like, oh!
If you want to get to heaven, you've got to jump across this tractor trailer onto this next tractor trailer.
And then he just goat dick. And you're like, shit, man, I don't know, hell might not sound too bad right now. What do I gotta do there?
He's like, we're roasting meat down here. We got fire down here. Warm.
They're like, oh, you just gotta take a ticket at the DMV and wait 17 years. And you're like,
17 years DMV, that's what hell is. And then after that, you get to eat pineapple with Hitler.
it's like number 42. It's like in Beetlejuice at the end where he takes the little dude's head's ticket. And then he's
He
like,
puts the curse on
and
him.
he's like, and his fucking head shrinks.
He's like, whoa, what's going on? What's that guy's name?
Beetlejuice?
Yeah, the actor in
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Probably one of the best Batmans.
Hey, how are we doing tonight?
Dude, Beetlejuice.
Just say the
Michael
name.
Keaton.
No, say it. I haven't seen that in a while, but that's a classic.
Classic.
So, fucking, you worked up in the Northeast,
Yep.
all right? Browns Brothers, right? Did
Brown
you
Brothers.
stint
To a
down there?
Boston Red
How'd
Sox
you get on
game?
down to good old Virginia?
So, worked in finance at Brown Brothers Harriman, then went into investment banking with Wellington Management, and then Boston was just too much, and then I moved to DC.
How was it too much?
It's just expensive, man.
Expensive.
Lots of like unproductive shit to do.
But don't you think like you're paying for the atmosphere though? Because there is so much
you're
to
paying
do,
for the
right?
atmosphere
Like,
here.
Yeah, anywhere.
Yeah.
It's the same
Anywhere.
shit. Like once you live in so many places, it's not really like where you are, but who you're surrounded with.
Okay.
So no matter if I'm here, Tampa, Houston, wherever, you're gonna meet people, right? Like you're gonna have a group of friends that you're gonna vibe with.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to pay 75% fucking tax and have to pay $45 a gallon for gas.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like pay $4,000 a month for a 1-bedroom, not even a 1-bedroom, for a studio apartment. I don't like.
Outrageous, bro.
So you
Shit
like it
is
here?
popping.
Yeah, I like it here.
You enjoying it?
Yeah,
How long
I'm
have you
having-
lived here in Richmond?
In Richmond, I'm coming up on a year and a half now. I moved January of 2022.
Okay.
And y'all moved just down here from DC just for the like finance, like
No.
price.
So I moved from Boston to DC, and then COVID happened. Vanessa and I both were working from home remote. So we decided to move to Tampa, Florida. So I was living in Tampa. We were all
During
living.
COVID.
Yeah,
I hear Tampa's fucking awesome.
it's fun, bro.
Tampa's great.
It's fun. St. Pete.
I've never heard someone
St.
like
Pete is
say,
awesome.
What's the old Don Julio? Isn't that what it's called? Right there, that old hotel right there in St. Pete, the
I have
big
no
red
idea.
moat.
That's the Mexican restaurant.
big
Chester.
red
Yeah,
hotel.
Don Julio isn't
It's
that
called
the
Don
drink?
something.
Don Julio is like the
You know tequila?
It is,
Tequila.
yeah.
Yeah, Don Julio,
It's
yeah.
called. It's something down there.
St. Pete is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of Scientology.
Oh, yeah.
really?
Clearwater,
Clearwater,
St. Pete
Florida.
area, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
just
Scientology
anytime
headquarters.
I've ever met someone who's like lived in Tampa, or lives in Tampa, I always hear like good things about it. They
It's
say
a
an awesome
lot of
area.
fun. It's great. Like our goal is to move back down there.
Weather's nice.
Oh, really?
Because Florida's doing it right, man. You look at any of the states, like if you take it on a spectrum, California is shithole, and then Florida, great. Texas, right there with Florida, or you can go to any of these southern states, and it's actually pretty fun. Like cost of living is low. Like you got beaches right there. The only thing you got to worry about is like hurricanes and shit.
Yeah.
But like it only comes once or
Kind of
twice.
got to worry about weather a little bit everywhere.
Yeah.
I
I mean, when I moved up
You
here,
made it through a hurricane before?
yeah, we went through a
I
hurricane.
mean, we had a hurricane here. My mom's been through like fucking 5 or 6 hurricanes.
5 or 6.
Yeah, living like South Carolina, North Carolina,
Gotcha.
Virginia, Florida, Georgia. Yeah.
I was in Boston when Nemo came. I don't know if that was that yeah, that was Hurricane Nemo. Dropped like 19 feet of snow.
God.
Damn.
Yeah, that shit was bad. But, hurricane, whatever, but like during COVID times when in DC we couldn't leave after 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Like it was curfew.
Oh, yeah.
Like you couldn't be outside after 7, whatever. We moved down to Florida, everything was open, bars were packed, people were having fun.
Yeah.
That's one thing we noticed. We went down there for spring break 2020. And it was wide open.
Yeah.
So much so to where it was like jarring, like a shock culture almost, because everything was so fucking closed everywhere else.
Right.
And I was like, "Whoa, is this like safe? Oh my god!"
Yeah.
You know,
It was a lot in the
brainwash.
beginning, you know. It was some uncharted territory there in the beginning, but once you realized like the bullshit and
I mean,
that
the
was
science
going
not
on and all
accurate.
that, yeah.
The science not accurate. No one knows what the fuck's going on. They just got to admit that, and we'll be good to go.
Dude, will you stop?
Yeah. The camera just died. It was full battery, bro.
So you think you're going to eventually work yourself back down to Tampa?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is I want to have something in the Northeast, and I want to have a house down in Florida.
That's what's up. Be able to go back and forth.
Yeah,
Like, where do you summer?
yeah. That's what I want to do. 'Cause, like,
dude.
yo,
Somewhere
this,
in
You
not,
definitely have 3 degrees.
not even kidding, bro. Like, when I went to the doctor's office in Tampa for the first time, when they ask you for your address, they ask you if it's your seasonal address or if it's your permanent address. If not, what is your forwarding address?
Makes
So-
some money out there.
So, like, you're basically writing down everywhere that you fucking live. So most of the people that live there not only live there, but they're probably in New York, Boston, wherever the fuck they live.
Yeah. Well,
I'll tell you
multiple
what, when I was in
addresses.
Tampa, couldn't find any cheap sushi prices. It was bullshit prices.
Really?
All of
Expensive?
them. Expensive.
I
Way
wouldn't
too
think that,
expensive.
especially being like on the Gulf.
You would think so, right?
But maybe that's the
You know the
trick.
spots though?
Yeah. There's some good, cheap.
I was say you
fairly
also
priced
aren't
spots.
from there or know what you're doing.
I
So.
was there for 4.5 days.
God damn, dude.
You go for a Gasparilla.
Tourist guide.
We stayed in a couple of different places, bro. We were in St. Pete. We stayed right.
They wanted
right.
$17 a roll.
We like to play the slots at the gas station.
Because if you stayed by the tourist traps, everything's gonna be more expensive.
Of course.
Like by the beaches and shit, everything's expensive.
Convenience. You're going to pay for it. You're not going to go out of your way to go save $7 on sushi. You're just going to pay the extra money
Yeah.
and enjoy yourself, right?
But I mean,
Yeah, no, Jenna was actually presenting at the convention center right there.
oh hell yeah, okay. My apartment was right near the convention center. Mm-hmm. So
We stayed in a
was
nice
lot of fun.
loft there for a while.
Hell
Is
yeah.
Tampa expensive to live? Like
Now
there?
it is. Florida's getting what 1,200 people a day moving in.
Yeah. My cousin just moved
Yikes.
there a year ago. He sold his house here in Virginia and
Yeah,
took his family there.
it's like over 1 million people coming in over the course of a year or whatever it is. I was reading something yesterday that was talking about it, and Florida's getting like all the people.
Yeah. Well, my mother's side of the family is from New Jersey,
Okay,
and they pretty much migrated to Virginia, and then from there, it's like all to Florida.
all to Florida.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. They all like live in Florida.
Florida's a place, man. It's like you're more insulated.
They cruise.
Government-
They cruise ship like a
Yeah.
motherfucker. They beach it up. They have all their houses have
My
like all
grandmother lived
types
there.
of cool
we
pools
would go to
and
Orlando.
shit.
She lives in Orlando.
Yeah,
And wish she had a vacation place in Daytona Beach. And so
Vanessa's,
Daytona race, bro, NASCAR,
we gotta
one
do
of
it.
the biggest tracks.
The Great
Let's do
American
it.
Race.
Dude,
Let's
so
do it.
cool.
I've never been to that.
Each one is
I
like
would love
special, you know
that.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm down to do it. Vanessa's sister, both of her sisters are in Orlando.
Very cool.
Her mom's there too. She lives half time in Peru and half here.
'Cause her family's from Miami. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude, that fucked me up for a second. I was like, what country is Miami? Like Peru, Nepal.
ever heard about Miami?
Tibet, Miami? I was
Miami.
like, must be one of them small ones I've never heard of.
Yeah. So she was telling me the other day that her family's like Peruvian.
Yeah.
And that when they lived in Miami for so long, that her Spanish started to sound like she was Cuban.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they were like, you gotta not sound like Cubans.
Damn. Street Scarface. I was like, hey, yo. You know, you fucking talking now.
Yeah, dude.
You fucking talking Montana.
Can't bring that shit out in
Do you have any
2023.
siblings?
I don't. So I was an only child until my dad remarried, and I have a half sister and an older stepsister. So my older stepsister was she was a pageant girl, did like Miss Universe and
Oh,
all
no
that
shit.
shit. So she's living that, you
She
know.
was Miss Universe.
No, she like participated. She was Miss Universe Nepal, represented Nepal for Miss Universe, like Miss Universe.
Yeah.
And now
That's
she's
legit, bro. Miss Universe.
I'm going
Yeah.
to kill you.
This is his sister.
His stepsister,
Yeah.
right,
It doesn't matter, dude. Miss Universe Nepal.
was doing the Miss Universe pageantry stuff.
Yep.
She was not Miss Universe.
She wasn't.
She was the girl that Steve Harvey was like, and the winner is Peru. And he was like, oh,
No.
wait, shit. Actually, I'm sorry, Peru. You got runner-up. It's Colombia. You know what I'm talking about? He fucked.
So
I think
she
he did it
wasn't.
twice.
Yeah,
She
he
did it
wasn't
twice.
So she wasn't the representative for Nepal.
Yeah, she was the
So
representative.
she was in.
She wasn't Miss Universe.
No.
She was Miss Universe. She
Nepal.
won the country's pageant.
Representative spot.
Yeah.
So she's Miss Nepal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Miss Universe Nepal. There we go.
Dude, the whole country. Miss Country.
Go drink a fucking chocolate beer and shut up.
Dude, that's legit.
So yeah.
No, that is awesome. I'm not like knocking her, dude.
So she was-
Congrats.
You know
What's
what
her
my sister
name?
does?
Susie. She was
Susie?
working. Yeah, Sujita Busnet. She's.
Ain't no way Susie won Miss Nepal.
Yeah, I'll show
Come on,
you.
man,
I'll drop in
First
her
name,
Instagram
dude,
thing.
English. Get with the times.
But
Landon. With the times, Landon.
Times New Roman.
yeah, she's out in Nepal right now, working there. I don't know what she's doing right now,
That's
but
cool.
she used to be in consulting. My little sister's about to go into college. It's her birthday in a couple of weeks.
What college?
She's starting her application. She's about to be 17.
Where do you think
So-
she's going to go?
She's probably going to go as far away as possible. That's what she's told me. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's in like Texas or California or something.
It'd be tight if she like made a video of like all of the colleges she applied to and put all the hats on the table, and then like
They just chose one.
and then it was just like, no, no, and she's like, USC, I'm coming, I'm gonna be a Trojan. That'd be sick. That's what
like
all the
all
high
those-
school players do.
They're
And,
like,
when they
all the girls, they're like, hi, my name's Kristen.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
going to BYU. Go Cougars.
I've seen that.
Hi, my name is Mary Jo. I'm going out. Go time. Like, whoa, that bitch doesn't. She's
seen some dude
definitely
today
going to
say
be
that.
on fucking Maury in a few years, being
dude
like,
today.
and Marcus is not the father.
Oh, we mercy and won't get on something like that. Hey.
Go dog. You're like, whoa,
Go dog.
go dog. Hell yeah, dude, that'd be fucking sick. We
yeah.
gotta get her to do that, but like, don't want a hick ass accent.
Dude.
What's your so what's her name? Just your younger sister.
My younger
half-sister.
sister's name is Nisha.
Nisha.
Yeah.
And Nisha should be like, my name Nisha. I'm going to LAU. Go down. 3.8
They make a
million
montage.
fucking views on TikTok.
All the girls that play softball.
Oh man, she does lacrosse,
There you go.
so she's gonna go to a lacrosse school. I think.
Okay.
I don't play lacrosse. I don't know shit
Oh,
about.
I don't know
lacrosse,
shit
so-
about lacrosse other than
So I'm
it looks
like,
fucking
do you?
sick.
Whatever
They
the
hit.
fuck.
They
Yeah.
hit.
X.
That's a tough sport.
Yeah.
That's a really tough sport.
So she's gonna go do some of that. But yeah, I was down in Tampa and then I moved here because I got a job here at CoStar. So
Nice. Well,
mo-
I'm fucking glad you're here. I mean, I can't wait for the fucking next race. Hopefully you're here for a few more years. And
yeah, dude, I'm
can
looking at
catch her.
houses right now. So I'm looking to buy a house here
in the Richmond area,
in the Richmond area. Yeah, I looked at 3 this morning. Housing market's fucked. So I
is
don't
it
know.
the price or the interest rate or both?
The price?
Price is still
Yeah,
fucked.
interest is uncontrollable, right? Like you can't control what the government decides to do, but the pricing is all fucked
Because you can fuck the interest by like extra
Yeah,
payments and
extra
paying it
payments
off
and shit, but,
faster.
like,
So you're
you
not
know,
really concerned about the interest
no.
rate. You know what you're doing.
It's like if this beer was, instead of $5, it's like, oh yeah, it's $35. Like, why?
Yeah.
They're like,
Or-
don't you want it still though? You're like, no. Not
No,
really.
Do you
not
think?
really.
Do you think it'll cool off or calm down, or you think this is just
It has to.
the new?
I have a feeling like Signature Bank or whatever it is, they just collapsed, right? So SVB also collapsed. First
Yeah.
Republic's having issues. All these other guys are having issues, and I've been following it like very closely. Companies like Zillow, I'm sure you've seen commercials for it. There are a lot of private companies that are literally buying up houses for someone before they can like execute on a deal, right? So there's also like other companies out there that would basically say, I wanted to buy a house. It's $700,000. I want to buy it right now, but because it's so competitive right now, we basically have to go in and offer a cash offer, right? Like
Yeah.
all out, like we're not financing it. So what I would do is I would get out to like some of these third party like middlemen, basically agencies that are out there. So I will basically sign a contract that I have 90 days to close. And what they will do is like, all right, Robbie wants this house for $700,000. We're going to give him $700,000 on the spot. So that when he goes to the seller, he can basically say, I'm buying $700,000 cash.
Yeah.
So they buy the house for you.
Yeah.
And then you have a mortgage through that
them.
third party
Yeah.
entity. What's happening is Now people don't want to close on these houses. So
I've heard
before,
that.
like everyone fucking closing, right? Like everyone's like, oh yeah, we'll put like $300,000 over asking, or I'm exaggerating, but like, you know, it's more than what was what the selling price was.
Easy.
And then-
Everybody I talk to, yeah.
We're foregoing like inspections. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. We're going to buy the house as is, whatever. Great. Fantastic. You can go ahead and do that. And then, you know, when it trades, and the companies are good that are like buying in bulk for these individuals. But when people like look at the interest rates now and they're like, oh shit, I want to buy this house. Okay, I'm going to buy it for, you know, $600,000. And then it's like, oh yeah, your monthly payment's going to be $5,000. It's like, oh fuck. Okay. I can't probably afford this.
No.
So, no.
So there are these like smaller companies that have like a inventory of like 50, 60, 200, 300 homes that are not trading, that they bought at, you know, above asking price.
Yeah.
And that's happening in like smaller cities and towns, and also like in major cities as well. And then you have companies like BlackRock and, you know, all these other larger
That's
companies.
what I was thinking of,
Like,
yeah.
They're going to take a hit. All those big companies are going to take
They have to
hits.
take a hit. And then it's like, the reason why the cost of this beer is not from 5 to 7 as inflation would have it, right? Like after a couple of years, like obviously pricing's supposed to go higher because population's growing, like real estate like appreciates in value, of course. But if you have like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like a garbage can over here, they're just buying beer in bulk just to fucking, you know, drain it down the chute.
Yeah.
The price of beer is going up, but there's no real consumer consuming the product. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going out into
It's like
the ether.
supply and demand, right? The supply is being all bought up, so when the supply is being bought up, the price goes up because you have less of a supply.
Exactly.
But the demand's not there, right?
The demand's
because
not
it's
there.
just being bought and then just sitting.
Yep. And then
So it's all been bought up, and that's
Is it
skyrocketed
generational, though, the
prices.
change to where, let's say it's sitting and people are like, yeah, it's not really responsible for me to purchase my own property. And so then it turns into like a number of years, and that's what it is. And it's like,
so
that's how long it takes to flop?
So right now, I mean, it's also, there's not just that, it's also people that got adjustable rate mortgages.
Isn't that going to fuck them?
Crazy.
Because they can spike that fucking that rate.
So it's like, I think it's either 3 or 5 years where the bank that you're banking with decides, okay, we gotta, you know, level our interest to the market.
Yeah.
Especially if we're about to be bankrupt.
Yep.
We're going to get your ass.
Yep. So
Damn,
before it was
dude.
like 3%, 4%,
Yeah.
easy, right? Like no
Standard.
problem.
Yeah.
It's standard. Have like prices. Your monthly payment's not going to change. This is like during the COVID era when people were getting $2,000 sitting at home not doing shit. So like a lot of people went out and bought property.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. I would have done it too, but I didn't. So kind of kicking myself in the, you know, back for not executing then. But anyways, a lot of people went in and got these like, you know, adjustable mortgages that in 3 to 5 years, which is approaching, the 3-year mark is here, 5-year mark is coming. Their monthly payment's going to go from being like $1,500 to $4,000. How are you going to afford
foreclose?
So foreclosure
So is
market's
this
going
like-
to get
so
All
is this
those
like-
homes are going up.
Yep.
Is this like comparable to like the housing like collapse in
It's
early
similar,
2000s?
but it's
But those are
different.
bad loans though, right?
Yeah,
like
those were
banks
just
that really
like,
didn't have.
Banks were just giving loans to any
loans.
fucking person. Now the thing is, the loans were, you know, there's a lot of checks and balances that they have in place, so they will only give loans to the right individuals. But then the interest rates and the Fed rates are so fucked that people won't be able to pay it.
Yeah, nobody is.
So it's like, even if you had a job, say you're making $100,000 a year, right?
So within the next 2 years.
By the end of this year, like early 2020, what is next year? 2024? Yeah. So we should start seeing like the housing market cool off. Because
I thought by next like presidential election, I was like, dude, I bet you by the next one, something will change. You know what I mean?
Change
I'm still
around
not in
the
the place to
elections.
buy a home, and I want to within the next like 3 to 5 years. But
it's not a good time.
also too, even if I was in the place right now, I wouldn't.
Like you can if you're buying all cash. Like right now is a great time to buy if you have liquid fucking money sitting around where you're not going to
I
have
don't
to
have
borrow
that kind
money.
of fucking
No.
cash.
We're
So
UltraWisdom podcast around here.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
We live not in Texas.
I'm like, hey, I'll make an all cash offer of $4,250. They're like, sir, this is a fucking $642,000 home. I'm
Dude,
like,
I mean, speaking
well,
of
take it or
Texas-
leave it, God damn it.
Leave it.
Speaking of Texas, though, you can buy a fucking nice, brand new fucking mansion for $200,000. It's fucking crazy in Texas, dude. Like, it's not like I think they have some shit in place. It might be that they're closer to the border and, the value's not there, but
Well, there's definitely areas. Go ahead.
When I was in Texas, we came through Louisiana, and so we came up, I think, is it Houston?
Uh-huh.
And then we went up to, like, Dallas. And Austin's like, almost halfway to
Right.
Dallas. We were going to Austin. And so, like, just from Houston to Austin, I mean, it was just land.
Yep.
So that's how it feels. And I feel like all that stuff is like, yeah, you're out there. And, like, yeah, you might be outside of Houston. You might be outside of Austin. But you're, like, around here. Like, you're 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You're 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And you're driving that far. But then you're in those baller cities, So, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, apparently I heard someone say, like, they were looking around outside of Richmond, like, those areas.
Yeah.
And even still, they're outrageous.
Oh, I mean...
Yeah.
And even a small city like Richmond.
Yeah, I mean, he heard him fucking $700,000 for a home. You know what I mean? I remember when, definitely pre-pandemic, but we were thinking about like getting a home or like moving to Texas or something like that, and our price range was like $250K.
That was more than enough.
But for that, you were still getting
Nice,
like a
property.
decent home,
Decent property.
Like
yeah.
$250,000 was like, oh, you're gonna get a nice 4-bedroom, 2-3 bath. 1,800, 2,000 square foot home on like an acre or two.
Right.
Like, what, you know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Now, $250,000? Oh my
get
God,
shit,
you're not
dude.
getting fucking
It's like
nothing.
subsidized
That
housing
shit's
prices.
like $400,000, $500,000 for a home.
Minimum,
I mean,
yeah.
We have
Getting
a
like a
friend.
townhome
We have a friend.
not even that cheap.
That we went to school with, and him and his wife built a home last year. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but they built a home last year. They had a baby, and because of like the distance they live like from their families and needing help with the baby, they decided to put their home up on the market, and they posted it on Facebook, on Zillow, and I was like, oh, I want to see this, so I like clicked on it. It's in Ashland, and I clicked on it thinking like, oh, it's gonna be like a $500,000 home. It's listed at $950K.
Jesus.
And don't get me wrong, it's a brand new home. It's
Right.
beautiful. It's nice. It's definitely, over 2,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms, three bathrooms. Nice. I mean, it's a beautiful home, but I'm like $1 million home.
In Ashland, Virginia.
I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
3, 4. I know when they were building that house or like prior to the pandemic, that house is probably like $400K.
Yeah.
$500K.
New builds usually, like in the suburbs, don't exceed like 600.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I was shocked when I saw that price, and I was like, good God. And I know it's going to sell.
Yeah.
It's going to sell.
There are buyers for it. I mean, the other big issue that's going to drive this too is unemployment. The way the rates are going up, it means that companies have to tighten. And a lot of companies are having public layoffs. A lot of companies are having not so public layoffs, which are just terminations, right?
Yeah.
Because it impacts negatively in the news, media, whatever.
Of course, it's a bad image.
Yeah, it's a bad image.
We're
when
laying
you're
off
saying that.
10,000
Like,
people.
yep.
Who's doing that right now? There's some big ones doing it right
are.
now. Google,
Google,
one of them.
Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, fucking
those
sales.
All the fucking cybersecurity and coding that all these people got these degrees and education on to like start all this shit up is now being
AI.
able to be done by AI. And they're like, well, we don't have to pay someone $150K a year with insurance and benefits
To do
do
cybersecurity.
coding because we can just
do it
generate
ourselves.
it.
Yeah. So I mean, like you're gonna have what the goal is to get unemployment up to like 7 to 10%, according to some sources. So if that means, what's the population of the U.S.? 300 something, 50?
380 million.
10% of
360
that.
million, yeah.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of fucking people.
It's a lot of people.
Like now, imagine those people. There's going to be a subset that just bought their homes in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when you can't make your payments?
Well, we had to get out of our apartment because we moved into our apartment 5 years ago.
Okay.
It was $1,050 a month.
They jack up the rates.
Okay,
like,
$1,050 a month. It was in Chester, right off the interstate, 15 minutes from here. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,500 square foot. I mean, nice place. Patio, all the amenities, great spot. $1,000 a month. We'll just say 1,000 instead of doing the 1,050 thing. $1,000 a month, everything included except for electric. Dude, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right?
Right.
Not bad at all. We moved out, and the new leasing offer was $1,950.
Get the fuck.
Yeah, right? And that's when anybody
That's
ever talks
100% increase.
And when anybody talks about renting, that's where I'm like, living here is the most expensive place I've ever lived. But then when people talk about what they rent places for, I'm like, oh my God.
Bro, $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
That apartment was not worth $2,000. 1,000? Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah.
$1,000 was cash, dude. $500 a person, easy.
Swooped it.
Oh, dude, we know the person living in it.
Swooped it.
And they're like, I can't believe I'm paying this much for this place.
That's insane.
I was just like, how do y'all like the first year it went up like from 1,000 to like, you know, 1090, and the second year it was like 1150, and
which
the
standard?
next year it was like, we were like, okay, we get it, you know. But dude, that fourth year they were like, 1590, and we were like, fuck, but we didn't have no options, so we stayed there. The second year was like, 19 something, and I was like, no way, no way. No. There's no way.
And I've talked about this too, though, but like the traditional way of life is gone. Like our parents and like the American dream is changing. And I was like, just thinking about the tech, you know, the IT, the people went to ITT Tech, like you're saying, to get a degree in something that was obsolete in less than 10 years.
I mean, when I was in the Air Force, so many people joined during the time I was in to do cybersecurity. Because the deal was, if you join the Air Force, do 4 years, get certified in cybersecurity, you can get out and you'll get a job in D.C. making
stacks,
fucking $190,000
and think about
a year.
like, dude, like I think my dad's been at his company for like 30 years.
Yeah.
People don't do that anymore, bro.
No, because it's just not. It's not plausible anymore, and also, too, companies can replace those individuals that they have to pay those high prices for with, like, you know, seniority. They're paying some dude who's been here 20 years fucking $180,000 a year when you can get two more guys for fucking $60,000 a year each who can do that guy's job and don't even have.
It was all do it for that price.
Yeah, it was all COVID, man. COVID fucked it up because like
there's got to be like we got to come back to some reality, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's like a wave. Like we went to a fucking extreme, and it's got to be coming back. But like, what's going to be the new norm? That's the thing. You know what I mean? It's not going to go back to what it was prior to that.
The new norm, like from what I've read and who I've spoken to and stuff like that, it's going to be people are going to be paid for the work that they do, not the work paid for what you deserve. So that entitlement shit is going to go right out the window because that's what happened during COVID times, right? Like diversity, equity, inclusion shit became like rampant, and then people got laid off. But then even if you were laid off, you'd still get a job that paid you double what the other job was giving you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know where all this money was coming from. I have somewhat of an idea. Like the government was giving out mad fucking loans to these companies, PPP loans or otherwise. Like large corporations were getting fucking subsidies. Yeah. And when you have all this like, you know, cash, you can basically throw down offers like no problem.
Yeah.
Like I have someone that I used to work with, you know, earned the same as me, now makes $400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just got laid off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like, the layoffs are going to come. The higher range salary people are going to get cut first. Of course.
Those lifestyles, too, are the hardest ones to, like...
Yep.
Think about that. Making that kind of money, living that kind of life.
Oh, and then getting checked back to reality, and now you're making fucking $95,000 a year?
No, like this person went from making $120 to making $400,000 in one job switch.
And then had that job for how long?
The first job?
No, the
$400,000.
Yeah,
the $400,000 was at a new company, and it was like literally
they hired him and then
like
fired him.
Hired them and fired them 7-8 months.
So they didn't even get the whole $400,000. No. I mean, they got fucking probably what 300, 250. I mean, which still is
still more than what they were making
it's awesome,
before.
But at the same time,
you
like,
get laid off. You get laid off. You know, like that is what it is.
And that's a big hit, having to go from that fucking price range back to something more realistic and then being like, fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And dude, I remember during COVID, I was pissed as fuck because I had to work during the whole time during COVID because my job was considered essential. It was like infrastructure.
Right.
So I was working the whole time and our hours were like reduced. So we were only getting like 30-hour weeks, making like fucking nowhere near what we were normally making because it was hourly. And my girlfriend was at home because she had gotten laid off because of COVID because her job. and was collecting more money each week than I was, and I was hot. Because I was like, dude, I have to get up every morning, go to work, do some shit, and come home and still make less
than what
she's making chilling at the house.
Exactly.
And she wasn't like doing anything wrong or cheating the system, but
it was just layoffs.
She was making $1,000 a week.
And then there, like I remember when I was in
getting
DC,
like benefits and assistance and like all types of shit. Like, and I was like, do that to me. Do that to me, man.
That's why people were like, why would I continue to work?
In DC, that's exactly what happened. A lot of people, where I was working at in DC at Yelp, got laid off. They were making more money on a biweekly basis than the salaries that we were making working full time. And it's like, how the fuck does that make any sense?
It was wild. I was like, dude, I'm fucking missing out on all this Warzone time and making half the money I'm making, man. I'm fucking pissed right now.
I could be living
I could be at home making twice of what I'm making right now playing Warzone all day, but instead I have to go to work because my company won't lay me off, man. Come on,
lay me
dude.
off like me benefit.
Help me out, dude. Do it to me.
Think of the holiday time. It's the holidays.
Well, shit, man. That's just that was a crazy time. I mean, luckily, we got through it. We're good now. We're in a good place.
I mean, one big stat about the COVID times, like people weren't working; they were staying at home, and then like supply chain was all fucked up, and people were like, "Oh, everything's expensive, inflation." You know, the stocks that performed the best, luxury good items. So what were these people doing that were collecting the 1,200? Not saying everyone, but like everyone was just like. I think I have a colleague who works out of the Detroit metro region, and they were basically saying that the Louis Vuitton stores in Detroit had their best sales quarters during the COVID, whatever stipend days than they've ever had in their lives.
And that shows what kind of intelligence the majority of American people have. Is that think about if something really would happen.
Yeah.
If something really real would happen. How many people would belly up?
A lot.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Yeah.
And when you get to a point and you're starving to a certain degree, you do certain things and it becomes violent.
Yeah.
And you can only imagine the chaos that would ensue, and it would be a real problem. Because look at what happened with all the riots during that time, regardless.
Yeah.
Of what, they just told people to stay inside for a little bit. Come on.
Not having jobs is going to be a real problem.
Starving.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is some silver lining. I think at least we're at like the crossroads of basically the American dream, which is capitalism with checks and balances, where you can make your dreams come true, or we go the socialistic route, which is basically fascism. One of those things, and. It's a delicate conversation for everyone right now.
Yeah, what gets put on the pedestal.
Yep,
the money or the social issues.
So it's like there needs to be a fine line, but it needs to be like changed back to the way things used to be. Like one clear thing I can tell you, like as an immigrant and stuff like that, you have all these you can look at all these businesses that are out there, right? Like look at nail salons, restaurants, and stuff like that. The U.S. has this thing called diversity lottery, which it basically has like a quota every year for how many green cards they're going to give to immigrants that want to immigrate
into on a waiting list.
Yes. So they apply for this lottery. Once they win the lottery, they can basically, go through the process. They come here, they get a green card, path to citizenship already guaranteed. They don't have to do shit. Most of these people don't speak a lick of English. They come here, they're able to secure and open fucking businesses that start generating over $1 million a year. And we see it all over the place, right? Like you see a nail salon pop up and then there's like 25 of them, right? You see a restaurant pop up and then there's like 5 of them. So like all these things happen in the U.S. There's no other country that people do this shit. So it's like there's a reason why the number of people that want to come to the U.S. is so much greater than any other country that exists worldwide. So that goes to show one of two things. Number one, either people are all fucking delusional and don't know anything, which I don't think is the case because the ultra rich and wealthy, they send all their kids to school here, not fucking Switzerland or something, like private, like high school and shit, yes. But like for college, they all come here, right? So it's like, okay, so if we have a system that's been working, that has worked, like why break it into something that's like more equity driven, not equality driven.
Yeah.
Like, give everyone the same equality, which is let life fuck you in the ass,
It's
right?
hard.
That's the only thing that's equal.
That's one thing that Americans, I feel like, have forgotten, that life is hard, and it's called survival for a reason. And so, like, again, you're going to have to survive in some way. If that survival is literally like you have to figure out what you're going to eat because you're starving, then you're going to be living like a more violent lifestyle.
Right.
You're going to be doing things that people wouldn't do.
Right.
When they have chose and made decisions to put them at a point where it's a little bit easier. And so then those people, like, you know, my parents worked really hard.
Right.
So when I grew up, I didn't struggle. Different for you. I know your parents worked hard too, but you had one parent working hard where I had two, you know? And so it was a different lifestyle.
Of course.
And then so that, like, breeds. Like, I can empathize with people that are so oblivious to everything because they've had it taken care of for them. Because I had it nice. And then, you know, learning as I've become an adult, like, just hearing about other people's lives, like, oh my God, you said you grew up like this?
Right.
And then I'm like, damn, I thought I was struggling. You know, so that's like what stands out for me is I see all these immigrant people come in. And they work their ass off.
There's a work ethic, dude. Like, I can see it, just me and some of my, you know, friends that I know and stuff like that. And it's like, it baffles me. Like, for me, it was my dad. My dad was doing a bulk of the heavy lifting. It's not like I lacked anything, but I could see how much he had to work in order to do what he had to do.
Yeah.
I have that drive in me. Like, I wake up every fucking day going to work because I know that I need to get to that next tax bracket, to the next tax bracket, and do something.
You're climbing.
Like, I'm doing it's the ladder, right? Like,
for me, that ladder, I take a long break on every step, I feel like. I'm like, I got a nice step right here, and I've made progress. Of course. And I'm happy.
Right.
And so I try to be content. And then I've noticed just, again, over time, that, like, man, I took a little too long on that step. I should have been a little more motivated. But then it's hard, the fluctuation between having a drive and then being content.
Right.
Because that's how you maintain your psyche, you know?
You got to be grateful.
Think about all the stuff that you are grateful for, you worked so hard for, right?
Right.
But then if you're there too long, you're like, oh, I'm just chilling.
And it's funny because, like,
you chill for a little too long.
On Friday, we were literally talking about this. Like, I was work mode, and then, you know, we have friends visiting from DC and stuff, so we went to a winery. I was still on work mode, and everyone's like, hey, you got to compartmentalize and, like, kind of get away from the work. But it's like, I know, like, I have this cyclical waves of, like, when I need to, like, bust my ass and grind, and when I, like, chill. And right now, it's like that time where my brain's in high gear, which is, I need to get to the next level. Yeah. Like, that's all I think about.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Wake up every morning, go to gym, whatever the fuck I'm doing, I'm always thinking about what is the next move that's going to make me get to that next level.
Yeah.
Whether it be tax bracket, whether it be, you know, buying a house, whether it be some other shit, like health, whatever, right? Like,
well, it's work hard now, work hard later.
Yeah.
So you eventually have to do it.
Exactly.
So why not? But again, you know, to each their own. Like, some people view it differently and think that, you know, hey, I'd rather live more now and work hard later. I'd rather, you know, and some people are like, I'd rather work hard now and live later. You know what I mean?
Or there's a point where people work so hard, they're like, I'm done working, I've worked hard enough.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And,
but then,
you know what I'm saying? That means they worked hard now. You know what I mean?
One thing that boils my blood, though, is those people that don't want to work hard, and it's like, where's the reward?
And
it's
they
like,
don't understand how it really is.
Well,
they
you know, COVID fucked that
educated.
up by, you know, giving all these people all this money during those 2 year period, and then all of a sudden being like, hey, it's done. Get back to work. And I think so many people, like, through that, like, entitlement and being like, well, I shouldn't have to work so hard for, you know, for less than I was getting already. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a time that worked where I didn't work.
Yeah.
Well, how come I can't do that?
Because, like, I know my situation, like, I didn't grow up in, like, such a nicer household or, like, an environment that I considered, like, what I thought, you know what I mean, would be the way it should be, you know what I mean? So that, for me, is what drives me, because I'm like, I know how I was raised, and I don't want to raise my kids that way.
Right.
So for me, I, like, don't have a problem working my ass off. Like, I'm like, man, I will work my ass off. It's not forever. It is temporary, because I know in this short period of time, we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 years. If I really work as hard as I can and fucking get after it, I will be able to not only get myself to a position where I can then fall back, I will also be able to put my kids in a position
Right.
to where they won't have to go through the stressors or
That you went
the
through.
hardened life of, going with or without certain things.
Right,
that
exactly.
Not spoiling. You know what I mean?
Or
But
having
having
also
taken
too,
care of,
just
all the necessities
just
taken care
there's
of.
this shit that I know when I can reflect on it being like, damn, that was embarrassing. Or,
Right.
oh,
But
that
also-
was shitty and tough, But
But also making them have to start the grind and start the
Yeah,
work
yeah.
earlier
Well,
because
they-
I know you started working before me.
15.
And see, I started working when I was like 16, 17.
The second I could get a job, what got me a job was in 8th grade, everyone was getting cell phones. The fucking Motorola Razr, the Nokia Slide, all those cell phones. And I went to my mom and I was like, hey, for my birthday, I want a cell phone. And she was like, dude, you're not getting a fucking cell phone. I was like, why not? She was like, because I'm not getting you something that you don't need. We have a house phone. Use that.
Right.
One.
Right, old school.
And two, that comes with a monthly bill. You expect me to pay that every month? If you want a cell phone, go get a job. And I was like,
Okay.
Deal.
wait, I can get a job? I never even that had never crossed my mind. And literally, I went and got a job and saved my money. And a few months later, was like, hey, can you take me to it was Alltel at the time before Verizon bought it. Like, take me to Alltel. She was like, for what? Like, so I can get a cell phone? She's like, I told you you're not getting one. I was like, oh no, I'm going to buy one. And that started it.
Right.
Yeah.
And from that point on, there's not one thing I have that I either didn't purchase, buy, or somehow
Working
accrue
for it.
from
Yeah.
just outright work. Like nothing can say
Exactly.
that. And no one can go to my house and say not one thing in there is something that I have not earned or worked for. And I love it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That to me is just what drove me to be who I am and where I am today. And that hard work and that drive is something that's still continued on. And now with having kids, I'm like, yo, I'm going to make sure that they don't have to maybe go necessarily through the same struggles and have to work as early as I did, because there is something that you do get robbed of as a child, having to start working so
young, yeah.
early. You do miss out on things, and I don't want them to lose that, but I also want them to understand the value of
hard
work.
Yeah.
You will, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can get a summer job.
Yeah.
You can go
get
do
things you
surf,
want. There's a point,
frozen
right.
froyo in the summer and save up your money and buy
Whatever
the
it is.
new
Right.
whatever the fuck it is when you want to go back to school.
I 100%
But I
agree
also
with
don't
you.
want you to spend your time instead of in extracurricular activities or sports
Worried
or
about it.
meetings or clubs or friends or hangouts.
Right.
Already there.
Missing that
Yeah.
instead of I don't want you to lose your childhood because you have
Have
to pay your
fun, but
car
also
insurance.
know,
Yeah.
work-life balance,
So
right?
I almost consider that a privilege for me that I got to experience that
Right.
because it's going to help me teach my kids a
Benefit.
lesson that I wasn't taught. But that's how someone's got to lay the foundation for the family.
dude, I was going to say.
Look at everybody that comes from a family and now their family's worth billions of dollars.
Right.
The original ones were not rich and successful. They were poor as fuck. and
Everyone started
worked
at
their
the same
balls
spot.
off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But 3 generations later, 4 generations later, 5 generations later, they're set.
It's all about the education.
I, realize that, I'm the foundation, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the person in this the family that was the one that was
to
like,
be
hey,
the role
man,
model.
I had to put it in, and had to be the one to lay the fucking foundation. And going forward, each generation will build on top of that
Right.
until generations down the road, they're the
Right.
ones sitting up at the top and get to enjoy the luxuries of the, life. And that's a good thing, man. It's a cool way to look at it, I feel like, and I appreciate it. And, I know it's tough, it's hard, and there are days where I'm like, God fucking damn it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel like I can say this
I
for
enjoy
all
it.
of us. I've had those conversations with Vanessa too, and I'm like, I feel like I'm overworking, and I'm just like, dude, I wish I could be less ambitious,
Yeah.
or less of this kind of, I don't know, laying the foundation, obsessive. You know what I mean? Because I'm super obsessive about it, not because I didn't have that, but I know what it can bring, not just for me, as you said,
Everybody
right?
around you.
Families, for children's children,
But
right?
the people that you interact with,
looking down the road,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? It really is.
And then you look at human evolution. Human evolution has always it's in our DNA. Men and women had two strictly different contributions to society.
Yeah.
Even when we were living in tribes, the men would form a group, go out hunt.
Hunters.
The women would be at home gathering
Gatherers,
crops and shit and taking care of the
Taking care
kids.
of it.
Right? So that has been like the foundation on which humans have evolved.
Yep.
At this point, if you're going to say, okay, that is not the foundation, then I don't know what is, because you can't compete with nature, dude. Like, I just don't think I am knowledgeable enough nor entitled enough to go against what nature has shown through the studies that we've done. Now, there's another study that comes out that just said, these guys were fucking chilling at home and fucking living a great life. Great. Like, how do we get that blueprint, right? But right now, the blueprint says one party, or if not both parties, must be fucking going out and getting it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people miss that marker, and it's like...
Well, you can imagine, too, one person going out and getting it versus two people going out and getting it.
Yeah.
It's double the getting
Double again, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think, too, like, this is the future, and it's like, now women are afforded that opportunity. People that are in relationships and they have a partner, they have multiple ways of getting it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Getting after it, taking care of the shit they got to take care of. And it's different for everybody.
Oh, 100%.
Some people need to go base jumping off of cliffs.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some people got to do it that way, and they're like, whatever I got to do to make sure I can do that. If it's a job, blah, blah, blah. Some people are like, hey, man, I just got to make sure I bowl in my bowling league every Tuesday.
Yeah. I need to make sure I do my podcast every week.
There we go.
I mean, that's my, like, dude, you also need to have those things that, you know what I'm saying, your escape from reality and that fucking work as well, you know what I mean? You can't just be, locked into that fucking mode 24/7, because you either will like break or go crazy, you know what I mean? You need to have a little bit of a release.
Well, here
and
you go. There's
some entertainment.
I saw somebody talking about a study with mice, and it was just like they were just describing the difference of the mice that sit in a cage with just water and food, and the mice that sit in a cage with other mice and things to do. Mm-hmm. It's just experiencing, and it's just like having a fucking spinning mirror. A fucking little puzzle that a mouse can like put up on here. It's just like basic shit for mice, but like it's stimulating. They say you can literally measure their brains, and the ones who are experiencing more stuff with more mice, more people, their brains are better. Their brains are stronger.
For sure.
They adapt to more things. They can even just learn easier.
I mean,
this was in reference to U of R. Actually, I was watching something on Netflix where U of R was referenced right here. They were doing these studies on these mice. They got them to drive like little RC cars by like pressing a lever, and then they could press the lever to like turn it and drive straight and like go around the track to get to the like reward. But they were learning, and they were like, it's funny to see like the mice that stand out amongst the other ones. They're like, these are the ones who can drive the cars. Because guess what? That's how life is. Some people can do things.
Oh, for sure.
Some people can't do those things.
Right. There are levels and tiers of this. I mean, and this thing is an engine. Like, you can overwork it and blow it up.
Oh, blown up.
But you can also let it fucking stay stagnant in a yard all goddamn day and for years on years on years on years. And it becomes a rusted piece of junk in the yard. You know what I mean? So you need to have that thing.
You gotta keep it humming.
You gotta keep it running. You gotta keep it tuned. You gotta keep it fucking healthy. You know what I mean? And the more you fucking drive it, the more you run it,
the better you get.
You also learn how to handle it better, control it better. You know what I mean? And it's like a balance. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't fucking run it 24/7. It will blow up.
It will blow up. 100%.
But you can't just fucking just park it in the yard and just leave it for 2 years, because then you're like, damn.
Nope.
This shit is fucking. It's beyond repair, and it's now taken on a whole new thing. And it's
what you can do to keep it humming? Which Robbie, next time Robbie comes on, he can talk about it. Is some psychedelic.
I was just about to bring that up. Because it goes like not just like work-life balance and all that, but there's a spiritual aspect of it that every human has to kind of. Yeah. Whether it be Jesus, Allah, Buddha, whoever.
Recognize it.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to recognize that there is something out there that made us who we are, where we are, and no one has all the answers, so what do we believe in? You can just believe in nothing, because your brain will fucking try to find that something, so whatever gives you that something, hold on to it, because that's what it is, right? These are the enlightened beings, if you may, of the world. Like, they found something that they really subscribe to, not to start a cult, not for any kind of thing, except just for like personal peace and that setting that basically says that, okay, if it's for me, like, okay, waking up in the morning and doing what I'm doing is backed by my belief, spiritually speaking, because reality is all we get, right? So, and going back to what we were talking about before too, my grandma always used to say, and this is like their generation, this is like people that were born in early 1900s. It was like an idle brain is the devil's stomping ground.
Yeah.
So like people who don't have anything to do, that's when they start thinking about all this like crazy dumb shit. And then society goes to fucking shit, right? So keep yourself busy. But then in college, when I was like in Boston too, I was fortunate enough that I came across DMT and ayahuasca and stuff way before
it was trending.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like I've
Save the personal experiences.
yeah.
Save it for next time. We'll have an episode.
All right.
Yeah.
You're running up here.
Okay.
We're
But I'll
running
just
down.
tell you one thing. Like I've done it many of times, many more times than I can count.
Beneficial?
The whole 20 yards. The first time, yes. It's like, think about it like this. You have a headache, right?
Okay.
You take Advil.
Okay.
The headache goes away. Are you going to keep popping Advil?
No, you figure out how to maintain
No.
the headache. How to not get a headache anymore.
Yeah. It's like
Hydrate,
you break your arm, you put it in a
nutrition.
cast, right? The arm heals. Now you're not going to put a cast on it again. So
You figure out how to not break your arm.
and you figure out how
You
not to
learn.
do it again, right?
Right.
Like you learn. So these are like from all the spectrums, from LSD to mushrooms to MDMA to what research chemicals, compounds like 2,5-B, 2-A, 2CB, 2CI, all those things, to ibogaine, peyote, like you name it, went into it, did it, dabbled in it, everything. So much so that there was a narrative that kind of started happening in my brain, which is like, maybe this will help me figure out what life is all about.
Of course.
The one big thing that it helped me realize is that is not what life is all about. This is what life is all
Life.
about. Regular life is what life is all about. So you figure that shit out. You don't need anything else.
Right.
You want to have a great trip, sleep more. Your dream is a trip. DMT is released by your brain.
Yeah.
So you're
Molecule.
tripping. So it's like learning how to be in life and being like in tune with life. Like people talk about frequencies and all this like crystal shit that's going on right now. It's like people not having anything to think about and just like going balls deep into this rabbit hole. They come up with like, oh, you got to wear a crystal pendant, all this shit. No, dude, it's like, yes, vibration frequency makes a difference, but it's not all.
Right.
Right.
It's an
You
aspect.
it's an aspect.
It's a part
like,
of the whole. Right.
Exactly. So it's like a circle, right? Like a dot on the circle is not the whole circle. It's a dot. You got to experience the entire fucking circle.
Yeah.
Like you got to go through everything in the middle.
Right.
So like it's just about balancing work and play and figuring out what you want to do and like working as hard as you can to accomplish it, because like people read about like they have all these studies out on like what's going to happen, like all this shit, like predict the future. You can't predict the future,
No.
man. Like no one can. What you can do is you can do the best right now. And I think America still provides that, which is
best
why I'm
right
here.
now.
I love it.
And it's the best system. And
I
I
love
think
it.
the American dream is fully alive. It's just
I
that
do too.
the media is trying to fuck it up.
Yeah.
In
Heard
my
that, baby.
personal opinion.
Heard that
That's
right
all it
here.
is. Because at the end of the day, like the things that you talk about basically changes people's outlooks, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll give you one solid example. 2001, when the towers went down, right? Yes, it was Al-Qaeda that did it. Yes, but the way that the media were portraying Muslims as a whole created this whole narrative against Muslims.
Islamophobia.
Islamophobia
Yeah.
became a thing. If you look at back in the day in LA with like the Asian riots and stuff like that, it was also media controlled narratives, right?
Yeah.
Like that created that. So like right now, all these like small little shits that we're worth talking
Worked up
about,
about.
like
People are waking up. People are waking up.
LGBTQ, all this stuff. It's like
Everything.
it has always existed. That is their number one point. Like if you look at any
control you with
LGBTQ,
that
like
crap.
they say, oh, it's been around forever. Okay, so why are you making a big deal out of it?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like it's just a way to divide people into like small little narrow fucking pigeonhole like thought processes.
Yeah.
And then everything goes to shit.
Well, that's what we do here is we're trying to take a step forward in the right direction,
Hell yeah.
because I've been more open here than I am in real life almost, to an extent.
Yeah.
And so it's like me exercising that free speech
Yeah.
and exercising, hey, this is what real people talk about,
Right.
the things that happen here. You can be a good person and talk about all of these things.
And it's just, I think, more obvious than ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so blatantly obvious now. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's so clear that, like, each week or, each month is just this new, crazy,
Endless feed.
hot topic
Endless.
that makes every fucking body be like, no,
feel it
how
in their
could you?
bones.
And then it's gone.
I'll give you one
It's
example.
forgotten about.
Yeah.
It's like, man, where the fuck did that go? How come no one cares about that no more? Oh, because we
Something
care about
else.
some fucking trans
Something
dude in a
else.
Bud Light can now, right now. I mean, it's just
There was that
insanity.
one rally that happened in the Carolinas like last week, where a former professional swimmer who was a female woman, she was at some like
Oh yeah, they hold her up in that room.
and then she basically said like protect women's sports.
Yeah.
Like you guys are, trans, LGBTQ, whatever it is, like that's fine, but we have to protect the women's sports industry as well, because women's rights was not too far long ago, man. Like
Right.
all this shit happened
Still a
right
thing.
now. In Saudi Arabia, people can still drive.
Yeah.
Women can't still drive, right? Like,
Yeah,
so it's like, it's
still a
real
thing.
things.
Yeah.
And then some trans person, like, assaulted her.
Yeah.
Now think about this reversed. Right?
Right.
Say that there's a trans rally going on saying protect trans sports, and then some woman smacked the
That's
shit out of
also-
that person.
Oh, dude.
It would have been all over the news, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going against the LGBTQ narrative. So it's like,
But these are
Look-
distractions.
Yeah,
these
so
are
all
distractions.
And we know
these
that
are
it's all
meant to
hypocritical.
get us to look this way.
wow.
They do the magic
This is
over
going
here.
over here. And we're like, dude, I'm never drinking Bud Light again. How dare they put a trans woman on the can? I'm getting rid of it. Meanwhile, the fucking banks are collapsing.
Right.
We're talking about a fucking...
They're stealing your
we're talking about
unborn
a
children.
beer can.
That's what they're doing.
We're talking about a beer can
Right.
that is literally made of water.
Right.
Instead of talking about more important things like banks collapsing, human trafficking, opioid pandemics, all these things that are like really affecting the country and
concerns, yeah.
real things that should be the major media and being talked about and like finding solutions for. But instead, we're more concerned about I'll never drink that again because I ain't no queer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's crazy. Definitely, I think more and more people are becoming aware of it. I hope they are. But at the same time, do your research. Fucking look into some shit. Pay attention. And just don't believe the first thing you see right out the gate and just jump on board just because everyone else this week is jumping on it as
Right.
well. Mm-hmm. We appreciate you coming on, Robbie.
Thank you very much for
It's
having
been
me.
a hell of a time going to the race with you.
Hell
You'll
yeah.
be
It
back.
was a hell of a time to sit here and talk with you. It went by like that.
It did.
I'd love to have you come back and talk about some psychedelic
I
adventures.
live right next door.
Some
So.
stories.
yeah.
I can share some with you that I've had myself. That would be awesome. But again, it was good to talk to you, and it's good getting to know you. It's good to be back with you, brother, and doing this
Welcome
again.
back.
I know it's been a couple weeks.
K-Dog.
I'm excited to be back and to get back on the train with this. But this week, friends, listeners, if you want to help out the show, our sponsor this week is Subway. Eat fresh. Myself, I'm a driver, and I drive around a lot during the day, and I don't always bring my lunch or have things prepared for myself to eat. And instead of eating junky, nasty, fast food, I'll sometimes just pop into a little Subway and get me a little sub. Kind of like trying to watch the weight a little bit, especially getting a little bit older. So the next time you're around one and you don't feel like being bogged down by heavy, nasty, hot fast food, go into Subway and get the new UltraWisdom combo. The combo consists of a 12-inch fried bologna sandwich with chips and a drink. It's only $10, and you can order it in the app if you use promo code ULTRA. We'll just have
Tell
to
'em.
pick. Is it dead?
It's dead.
Ah, it's dead. But you'll be able to purchase it in the app if you use the promo code ULTRA. Get yourself a nice 12-inch fried bologna sub with a sub and a drink for $10. And we'll see you next time.
Yas.
Thank you guys.
UltraWisdom.